it's kind of, when you're a person like me where you're very active, physically active, you have to find other outlets pretty quickly so you don't go crazy. So reading books, doing some new hobbies, new projects. If it's an upper body injury, can you do lower body gym work? Hey everybody, it's Aaron from gograva.com. You know, it's one of these days today where you know, it's been muggy and, you know, eastern Pennsylvania, muggy and hot, and then you get a day like this where it's like low 80s and dry. You know, you got to take advantage of it and get outside whenever you can. So lots of people riding their bikes outside. It's great to see. Stream there, it's awesome. So today we're talking about, you know, coming back from an injury, because that's what I've had for the past 14 months. 14 months ago, I injured my knee. I've been trying to rehabilitate it, but it's just been an awful process. And I don't want to get into the problems we have with, you know, you get an x-ray really quick, but good luck trying to get an MRI or anything like that in the United States, unless you're really complaining a lot about it. But the issue I had is, you know, I like being active. I'm an outdoors person, and it was just really killing me to be stuck inside and, you know, not being able to do the things which I love doing. And the knee injury was so stupid. I was just playing with my kids and I made one, you know, sharp turn and ouch, oops, there it goes. So I think it's pretty much, it's an ACL tear. Now it is coming back in the last month. I've been able to kind of get out on the bicycle. I can stand out of the saddle. You know, my leg's probably at 60%. And in that time, being bored, I decided to start a company. And I got the freeway right next to me. I don't know if you can hear that. It's on the other side of the bushes. It's a bit loud, but let me get down the road and I'll talk more about this. Okay, coming up to a bridge. So I was specifically talking about my injuries, and this is my second major injury that I've had. The other one took 2.5 years before I get to surgery, and that was an Achilles tendon tear. And it took 2 years before I got the MRI, and then they said, oh my God, you're never gonna walk again. But that wasn't true. So, you know, orthopedics, I have a love-hate relationship, because there I did have an amazing surgeon for my Achilles, but just getting them to see that you have a problem and getting an MRI is so difficult. And yeah, so what do you do when you have these injuries or you're coming off these injuries? All right, so you have an injury. I mean, what do? Well, if you're writhing in pain, obviously you go to the emergency room. Or if you can't sleep, you go see your doctor because the pain's too much. But normally what I do is I just rest and recover, you know, try to take it easy, which I suck at doing. Hello. And then take some Motrin, ice it down, things like that. Pretty common sense stuff. And then work through it. If it's a week or 2 weeks and it's not getting better, then I usually go see the doctor if I can. And then you may or may not get an MRA, you may get an x-ray, told to rest, told to ice, get a prescription. But you just keep working on it. And you know, you go through this process of recovery for yourself, and it's kind of, when you're a person like me where you're very active, physically active, you have to find other outlets pretty quickly so you don't go crazy. So reading books, doing some new hobbies, new projects. If it's an upper body injury, can you do lower body gym work? If it's a lower body injury, can you do upper body gym work? And then just generally trying to progress, because most times you really don't want surgery if you don't have to have it. And I'm okay taking it easy for a year if that's what I have to do. I mean, if it wasn't for this knee injury, I wouldn't have started gograva.com. I wouldn't have had the time to think. I would have always been kind of out and about doing things. So that's it. Now, coming back from an injury is sometimes, I think, what really gets people. Because if you were a really fit person before, now, a year later, all of that fitness is gone. It is crushed. And you have to take it easy coming back from an injury, or you're going to re-injure yourself. And so you have to be very, very patient and very forgiving, and you have to learn to enjoy going slower, getting out, just being in nature, enjoying being outside, and not turning every bike ride into a competition. And so, you know, and I think this happens to a lot of us, and it doesn't even have to be an injury. Maybe you have a family emergency, something that takes you out for a year or more, and you really just kind of get stuck in that rut. And coming back out of it, or coming back to cycling or hiking or walking or being outside, just seems really, really hard because you're so far removed from it. And what you have to do is you just have to get out there with no expectations. Maybe you were a superstar athlete or a really good amateur, you were competing. Forget that stuff. It doesn't matter right now. What matters is getting out of your rut and getting back outside. Then over time, you'll start to feel better. But you're gonna see on this ride I'm doing, normally it's a ride it would take me an hour and a half. It's gonna take a lot longer. We're gonna go over the Neversink Mountain Trail, and I'm probably gonna have to push my bike during certain segments. Also, when you're out and about, just take more breaks. It doesn't have to be a race. I usually take it easy. Riding fast and riding aggressive and those sort of things will come later, you know, because you do enjoy that, you know, really going fast in certain areas on a bicycle, or hiking farther than you normally do. I find those to be enjoyable at times, going further distances than you've done before. But when you're coming back from an injury, you know, it's also about easing into it. Stopping at the store for some chips, you know. Funny thing is, I'm using my pannier bags, and it's been a while since I used my panniers. Or a set of panniers, but the Grava pannier bags, it's a little windy today. And so the wind's hitting them, and it feels like you have a flat tire because you're getting slowed down, because they're like sails, kind of. Panniers are like sails in the back of your bike, and so it threw me off. But yeah, the Grava panniers are working great. Get a pair. They're not that expensive, and they can really hook to anything. Same thing, I have frame backs coming. All handmade in Colombia. So it's an American-made product, you know, between North America and South America. And we really like to make American-made products. And when we get to bicycles, which I'm hoping in the future, we got a Grava bike that You know, it's an all-terrain bike. You can use it off-road, on-road, touring, bike packing, anything. And I can't wait to show that off and show you all some of the adventures that we're gonna do. But let me finish my potato chips. And I just gotta get around the river and then probably hike-a-biking up this hill, and then I'll be heading home. So normally something that took me an hour and a half, today is probably gonna take me 2.5 hours. But why not enjoy the beautiful day, no humidity, and sunny skies, and it's just a great day to be outside. Yeah. All right, now I'm riding along the Exeter Scenic River Trail casually, and I got to tell you, it's one of those days in the summer where it's just absolutely magnificent to be out. Even though I'm just riding nice and easy, I'm not even trying to break a sweat. I'm just enjoying the outside, and wow, what a great day. So this trail will take us to Neversink Mountain, and 100 to 150 years ago, people from the city of Philadelphia used to come out this way to Reading, and just outside Reading to have like you know, a nature escape, a nature getaway. Because even back then, when they built up cities, people kind of understood that getting outside, you know, was healthy and good for you. And so we're gonna go not up to the top of Neversink Mountain, but we're just gonna follow the trail, and then the trail dumps us into the south side of Reading, Pennsylvania. I might still have the King of the Mountain on this trail. Back when I used to care about those things on Strava. I remember getting up one morning at like 5 a.m. so I could come out here and just hammer it with nobody on the trail. And like that was my specialty on the bicycle, was flat roads, 5 minutes. I could just put out a tremendous amount of power, but get me climbing a mountain, since I'm a bigger guy, you know, 185 centimeters, 6'1", you know, 90 kilos, you know, climbing is not my specialty on the bicycle. But yeah, I remember that back when I used to care about those things. As I've gotten older, you know, I'm 49 now, it's more about just staying healthy and enjoying the moments, and not competing with everything, just enjoying the moments and doing things that bring, you know, joy to my life, and hopefully joy to the life of my family and the people I know, instead of just focusing on training. All right, next up, through a tunnel up Neversink Mountain. All right, we're gonna hike through this tunnel. Goes up to Neversink Mountain. It's not really that big, and wow, it's very dark in here. It's getting, but we're almost to the end. Oh, another cyclist came up, scared me.
Didn't mean to.
Almost out of the tunnel. Okay, there we go. So you take the Exeter Trail, and then you head up. At the end of the trail, you go through the tunnel, and you end up on Neversink trail system, which is not bad. It's got like some decent mountain biking up here and hiking trails, and some good scenery, good views. And you can follow us all the way up to the top, and you can cut through Reading, and it goes through into Mount Penn, which overlooks Reading. And again, more mountain bike trails up there. So for me, this was totally rideable before, but now that I've been out for a while, 14 months from cycling, you know, I'm just gonna hike it up. And we'll talk about hike-a-bike. here and why it's okay. Still heading up Never Sink Mountain. I couldn't record back there. It's 500 meters of semi-steep, and I was out of breath even just hike-a-biking up. Now, hike-a-bike is something I never heard of before until I got into bike packing and did some bike packing races and realized that it's kind of pretty normal on a bike packing trip or a bike packing race to kind of push your bicycle up steep hills. And I use that now when I'm trying to come back and get in shape, is I just walk my bike up the steep parts. Now, I've ridden this trail many times and I've had no problems getting up on a gravel bike, even though it's getting rockier and rockier as the years go by. But yeah, that's hike-a-bike. With this big heavy thing, this motorbike, and my pannier rack on it, it's just difficult. And actually, you know what? I'm gonna do a video soon about my experiences so far, maybe 150, 200 miles on the motorbike that I bought for $599. And it's called a gravel bike. And I'm gonna talk about why it's not a gravel bike at all, and the simple thing they're missing to call it a gravel bike. And the one thing you need to call any bike a gravel bike. So let me get back on the bike here and get to the top of Never Sink Mountain, and then take a break, and then we'll descend down the other side into Redding and I'll head home. So this is Never Sink Mountain Lookout. It's an amazing place. You get a nice view of the Schuylkill River and then the township south of Redding. Now, I didn't stop up there at Lookout Point because there was a couple who was really enjoying the view and their own conversation, so I didn't want to bother them with my blabbering and my camera. So next thing we talk about is when you're getting back, understanding that, one, I don't know if you can see it on my camera, but when you ride your bicycle slow, you forget how many bugs swarm around your face. There are bugs bothering me all the way up this hill, because normally I ride much faster than this. Well, not normally, but when I was in shape, and I'm not walking so much. And now they're all over me, saying hello, whatever they're trying to do. They're not mosquitoes, they're just, they want to see what I'm all about. The other thing that you have to get used to is when you get back to the bicycle, right? Just time on saddle, which is your seat. Time with your butt on the seat, because after an hour, I'm getting sore. And so you got to kind of build up that durability on your rear to do the longer adventures, because that starts wearing on you a bit. And then same thing with your hands and your shoulders a bit, at least for me. So I got to work up to these things, building that endurance. But these are all things that we just accept as part of your comeback story, right? You know, you just got to go out there and do it and not put any expectations on yourself. Just give yourself some time. And don't make a schedule. Don't say, oh, I'm going to do it for 2 hours. Well, what if it takes 4? Then you're going to feel all this pressure to get back home or something like that. Just give yourself a big block of time and go out, go for a walk, get your bike, and just get moving. So, next part, get the top of Never Sink, and then we'll descend down into the south side of Redding. And then we'll be headed home. Okay, we stopped at the Redding Art Museum and get to sit here, look at some flowers and some art. So yeah, we had a good ride. We had to do some hike-a-bike, not a big deal, and took it casually. I have been maybe 2.5 hours into this ride of 20 miles, I think, 24 miles. Home's not far from here, but we got to take it easy in the beginning when you're recovering, understand your limitations. It's okay to push your bike. It's more important to be outside. Those are all the things that we're trying to express in this video. So with that said, I actually am just going to jump from this video right into my review. I think I got 150 miles on the Motobecane gravel bike that I bought for $599. What have I experienced? Well, I'll tell you here in a minute, but it's time to review. Okay. Bye.